Alrighty folks, we're back again. Today we're going to repot this blue cheese NG, the next generation blue cheese. Just gathering a few things up here, and I'm going to get some HP Pro Mix and some Dairy Dew, a little bit of worm castings, and some beneficial bacteria and microbes. So just sit back and watch me build up a pretty good living soil. I'm gonna adjust the recipe a little bit once I get some more inputs in stock here, but for right now this should be just enough. So we're gonna start off with the little bit of Pro Mix in the bottom there, and then I'm gonna put a couple cups full, maybe a little bit more than that. I don't really measure, I just kind of eyeball it, and I'll stir it up. I break up all the chunkies and make sure there's no roots, because I do typically try to reuse my soil. You can see it's dry as a popcorn fire there, so we gotta watch for that dust. Speaking of dust, we do throw a healthy amount of rock dust in there, and that is azomite. So that is broken up limestones and volcanic rocks and stuff like that for the beneficial micronutrients and trace elements and whatnot. And again, we continue working the soil and making sure that everything is nice and broken up. And hey, okay, I guess we found a old Rockwell cube in the mix, so we'll just dispose of that. And now we're just gonna throw in some big chunks of Pro Mix. I've got a big old bag of it right off camera here. I didn't try to pick it up or nothing. So we're just breaking up big old raw brand new chunks of Pro Mix that I'll just mix in here and get it all nice and uniform, and give you a little look-see here. Yep, okay. We'll take off the old stickers. That's thrown me for a loop a couple times. I've looked at plants and thought they were one thing, and it turned out they were something else because I was looking at an old sticker. So that's a good pro tip there. Remove your old labels if you're reusing your pots, which is a good idea. Alright, now let's move on to the Dairy Dew. This is cow manure and earthworm castings composted by a Michigan company, and I'm all about supporting a Michigan company here. Unfortunately, when I started digging into the bag, I noticed that our local chipmunks and or mice decided to be helpful and migrate some bird seed into our bag. So I'm just picking out some big chunks and throwing in big chunks and trying not to see, that's a sprouted seed in the Dairy Dew from the bird seed. Alright, so I'm just digging around here trying to find a big old chunk I can throw in here that'll have minimal volunteers here. I don't want anybody volunteers, so I'm just gonna throw a big old chunk in here and end up breaking it all up, and we'll just call it good. I'll end up doing a compost tea and or worm casting tea of some sort, and I'll probably add in some more nitrogen based inputs at that point. So we'll just call it good from there and just move on to the next one. Alright, so now I'm going to grab the Trifecta Plus. This is an all organic inputs from a Michigan company that has looks like chicken manure and some ureas and various meals and whatnot, and I've had some pretty good luck with this, so I'm going to continue using it here. And since this is going to be for a larger plant, I'm going to try to put 2 teaspoons of this stuff down here in the lower section of the pot, just to give the roots something to reach down into. And again, here it's the little 1 teaspoon, and I end up giving it 2 teaspoons of the Trifecta Plus. And we're just going to throw in some more Pro Mix here, just to get the level of the soil up just a little bit higher. Alright, now what I like to do is make a little well using the potted plant to kind of gauge where the plant is going to ride when I get the get it all in there. But I think I did add a little too much soil, so I'm just going to grab a tray here I have off camera and take a little bit out so that I can get the level of the root ball exactly where I want it to be. Alright, now since we have it in place, I'm just going to leave it there and take all this soil that come out of it and a little bit more as well and just backfill it up to make a nice cavity for us to plop our root ball in. Alright, what I'm going to grab now is just simply some RO water in a spray bottle. And I've noticed this helps not only pre-wet the soil just a little bit down there by the root ball, but it also gives us a little bit of a stiffness in building up this wall so that when I do the next step here, I don't have everything collapsing in on itself and whatnot. And then I also spritz the very top of the root ball itself so that it minimizes any loose dirt flying around, and you're gonna make a mess anyway, so we'll try to minimize it. So let's get rid of another root I found. And so now what I'm gonna do is just kind of squeeze on the pot a little bit to break the surface tension a little bit between the root ball and the pot, so it's a little easier to get out. And so now I'm going over and grabbing some beneficial microbes. This is a product from my local grow store called Mycos. Unfortunately, I didn't get you a very good look there on camera, but you can find this at your local grow store, and it is a truly optional thing because the Pro Mix does have its own mycorrhiza and beneficial bacteria and whatnot in there, but I like to add my own for some direct root contact. So what I'm going to do in pretty quick one motion here is tip it upside down, let some of this stuff fly off, and then bam, give it a little pop, and the whole thing comes undone. And then what I'm doing slightly out of camera here is kind of working with the roots a little bit, waking them up and breaking them off the bottom a little bit so they're free, and then just slap, boom, right into place. And that gets it a nice little contact. I push it down not too hard, but I give it a good push to make sure there's nice contact and minimize any air pockets. And now I'm just gonna dump a bunch of brand new Pro Mix. I'm off camera right now breaking up all the big lumps and whatnot and just dumping it in as best I can. And I won't go quite full. I want a little spot there for the water to accumulate when I do water these. So I'll leave about an inch or two of space there. Alright folks, I think that pretty much wraps up this transplant session. This was the blue cheese next generation, planted on December 1st. I did reuse the Pro Mix, added some dairy dew, some worm castings, and I forgot to add to my little label here 2 tisps of Trifecta Plus. I can use the video to go back to now and look on, but I do want to kind of try to keep track of this. Look for any undernewt or overnewt situations. Alright folks, hope you enjoyed this session. Talk to you again next video.